The Story of Deborah, the judge who led Israel to victory. The tale of Deborah, the only female judge in Israel's history, presents a captivating illustration of bravery, piety, and leadership amidst a turbulent era within a male-dominated society. Deborah's distinction stemmed not only from her political authority, but also from her role as a revered prophetess. Her story compels us to re-examine our preconceived notions about leadership, revealing how God can utilize individuals of any gender or societal standing to fulfill His divine plans. But here's the shocking twist. Why did one of Israel's most powerful military commanders refuse to go to battle unless this woman accompanied him? Let's delve into this remarkable narrative and uncover how an extraordinary woman contributed to altering the trajectory of Israel's journey. Following the passing of Joshua, Israel entered a tumultuous epoch known as the period of the Judges. This era was characterized by significant political and spiritual unrest among God's chosen people. The absence of a robust centralized authority resulted in a state of moral and social disorder. The Book of Judges aptly encapsulates this chaotic environment. In chapter 21-25, it is written, "In those days Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit." Throughout this period, Israel found itself trapped in a recurring cycle of straying from God, subsequent oppression, and eventual liberation. The Israelites would turn away from the divine path, embracing the idols of neighboring societies, which in turn led to suffering inflicted upon them by their adversaries. In the depths of their affliction, they would cry out to God, who, in response, would appoint a judge to guide them towards deliverance. This pattern was not merely a random sequence of events, but rather a direct manifestation of the covenantal bond between God and Israel. The Book of Judges provides a clear depiction of this cycle. Chapter 2:14. 16 offers a succinct elucidation of this recurring theme. In His anger against Israel, the Lord gave them into the hands of raiders who plundered them. He sold them to their enemies all around, whom they were no longer able to resist. Whenever Israel went out to fight, the hand of the Lord was against them to defeat them, just as He had sworn to them. They were in great distress. Then the Lord raised up judges who saved them out of the hands of these raiders. This cyclical phenomenon transcended mere historical occurrences, serving as a powerful testament to God's unwavering loyalty, even when confronted with the unfaithfulness of His people. Whenever Israel strayed from the righteous path, God allowed them to reap the consequences of their actions. However, He never completely forsook them. In their moments of desperation and pleas for aid, God, in His infinite compassion, consistently answered their calls. It was within this context of apostasy and oppression that Israel faced one of its most formidable trials. The Book of Judges furnishes details of this precarious situation. Chapter 4. 1. 3 recounts. Again the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, now that Ehud was dead. So the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. Sisera, the commander of his army, was based in Harosheth Hagoyim. Because he had 900 chariots fitted with iron and had cruelly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years, they cried to the Lord for help. Jabin, the Canaanite king, and his formidable military commander Sisera established a tyrannical reign over Israel. Their superior military strength, which included 900 iron chariots, enabled them to subjugate God's chosen people for 2 decades. This was no minor or transient period of oppression. For 20 long years, the Israelites endured the suffocating grip of Canaanite rule. The iron chariots mentioned in the scriptures represented cutting-edge military technology for that era. They conferred a substantial advantage on the battlefield, particularly against Israel's infantry-based military force. This technological edge, coupled with Sisera's strategic acumen, rendered the Canaanite army virtually insurmountable from a human standpoint. The Israelites lived in a perpetual state of fear, enduring maltreatment and exploitation at the hands of their oppressors. This oppression extended beyond the military domain, encompassing economic and social aspects as well. God's people were subjected to exorbitant taxes, limitations on their freedom of movement and worship, and potentially even forced labor. The situation appeared bleak, and many questioned whether God had abandoned them in their time of need. It was during this critical juncture, as hope dwindled, that God, in his unwavering adherence to his promises, raised Deborah as a judge and prophetess for Israel. The biblical account presents her in a distinctive and formidable light. Judges 4:5 describes, "Now Deborah, a prophet, the wife of Lapidoth, was leading Israel at that time. She held court under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went up to her to have their disputes decided." Deborah emerged as an unprecedented figure in Israel's history. As a prophetess, she received direct revelations from God and conveyed his messages to the people. This spiritual role was paramount during an era when the nation had strayed significantly from the path ordained by the Lord. Through Deborah, God re-established a direct line of communication with his chosen people, summoning them back to the covenant they had forsaken. In her capacity as a judge, Deborah mediated disputes and rendered significant judgments on behalf of the nation. This role encompassed legal, administrative, and frequently military dimensions. The judges were more than mere mediators. They were divinely appointed leaders entrusted with the guidance and deliverance of God's people. The fact that Deborah, a woman, occupied such a position of authority in a time when this was virtually unheard of serves as a testament to God's ability to employ anyone, regardless of gender or social standing, to lead his chosen people. The palm of Deborah, as alluded to in the scriptures, evolved into a significant site for judgment and counsel. This palm tree, situated between Ramah and Bethel in the Ephraimite highlands, transcended its geographical significance, becoming a symbol of justice and the palpable presence of God among the Israelites. People from every corner of Israel sought out Deborah's wisdom and guidance beneath this tree. Positioned under the palm tree, Deborah attentively listened to the concerns of her people, offering sage and equitable solutions, inspired by divine guidance. This imagery underscores the importance of accessibility in leadership. Deborah did not isolate herself within the confines of a palace or temple. She made herself available to her people, ready to lend an ear to their worries and dispense divine wisdom. The respect and trust accorded to Deborah were undeniable. In a deeply patriarchal society where women seldom held positions of public leadership, Deborah commanded recognition and respect from all corners of Israel. Her authority stemmed not only from her official position as a judge, but also from her unwavering integrity and intimate connection with God. Deborah's ascendance to leadership marked a pivotal moment in Israel's narrative. After enduring 20 years of oppression, They finally had a leader who could guide them back to God and the path towards freedom. Her presence served as a constant reassurance that even in their darkest hour, God had not abandoned His chosen people. With Deborah firmly established as Israel's judge and prophetess, the stage was set for a dramatic shift in the course of events. The Israelites had implored God for deliverance, and He was poised to answer their pleas through Deborah. The book of Judges narrates how God set this liberation in motion. Chapter 4:6 recounts. She sent for Barak, son of Abinoam from Kedesh in Naphtali, and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead them up to Mount Tabor." This divine summons, relayed through Deborah, heralded the dawn of a new chapter in Israel's history. God not only chose Deborah for a leadership role, but also designated Barak as the military commander responsible for leading Israel's forces into battle against their oppressors. What about the role of a prophet? Wait until you hear about the prophecy she made that came true in the most unexpected and brutal way, involving a tent peg, a sleeping general, and another fearless woman. Stick with us to the end, because missing even one detail could leave you without the full picture. If you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us understand what you love. We'd also be honored to have your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you. Barak's selection was far from arbitrary. Hailing from Kadesh in the Naphtali region, one of the areas most severely affected by Canaanite oppression, Barak had a deeply personal stake in the liberation of his people. Furthermore, as a native of the region, he likely possessed intimate knowledge of the terrain, which would prove advantageous in the impending conflict. The divine blueprint, as revealed to Deborah, was unambiguous and detailed. Barak was tasked with assembling a force of 10,000 men from the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun. These adjacent tribes were situated in northern Israel, in proximity to Mount Tabor, which would serve as the army's rendezvous point. The selection of Mount Tabor as the gathering point was strategically significant. Located at the convergence of Naphtali, Zebulun, and Issachar's territories, Mount Tabor held a strategic advantage. Its elevation, reaching approximately 588 meters above sea level, afforded a commanding view of the surrounding landscape, including the Jezreel Valley, where the battle was anticipated to unfold. Deborah continued relaying God's message to Barak. In verse 7 of the same chapter, she declared, "I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands." This particular element of the divine message holds particular intrigue. God not only guaranteed victory, but also unveiled a portion of his strategic plan. The objective was to lure Sisera and his formidable forces to the Kishon River. This river, typically a modest stream, had the potential to transform into a raging torrent during periods of heavy rainfall, a detail that would prove pivotal in the battle to come. God's pledge to deliver Sisera into Barak's hands served as an ironclad assurance of victory. However, this promise hinged on Barak's faith and willingness to act decisively. He had to place his trust in God's word as conveyed through Deborah, and demonstrate that trust by rallying the troops and preparing them for the looming confrontation. Barak's reaction to this divine call reveals much about his character and the nature of faith. In verse 8, Barak's response is documented. Barak said to her, "If you go with me, I will go. But if you don't go with me, I won't go." Upon initial consideration, Barak's response might be misconstrued as a lack of faith. He had just received a direct promise of victory from God, so why the hesitation to proceed without Deborah? However, a more nuanced analysis suggests a deeper understanding of the situation. Barak recognized the profound importance of Deborah's presence as a prophetess. She embodied God's presence and guidance among the people. Having Deborah by his side during the battle would serve as a tangible reminder to the entire army that God was with them. Additionally, in a time when spiritual leadership was as crucial as military prowess, Deborah's presence had the potential to bolster the troops' confidence and inspire them to fight valiantly. Deborah's response to Barak's request is equally illuminating. In verse 9, she responded, "Certainly I will go with you," said Deborah. "But because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." Deborah's agreement to accompany Barak demonstrated her unwavering dedication to Israel's cause and her willingness to lead not from afar, but from the front lines alongside her people. However, her response also included a prophecy. The glory of victory would not be attributed to Barak, but to a woman. This prophecy carries significant weight for several reasons. Firstly, it challenged the deeply ingrained societal norms of the time, where military accolades were predominantly bestowed upon men. Secondly, it introduced an element of suspense to the narrative. Who would this woman be? As the story unfolds, the answer to this question would prove to be both unexpected and significant. With Deborah and Barak in agreement, preparations for the battle commenced. Verse 10 recounts, "There Barak summoned Zebulun and Naphtali, and 10,000 men went up under his command. Deborah also went up with him." Assembling the army was no small feat. After enduring 2 decades of oppressive rule, many Israelites had succumbed to demoralization and fear. Rallying 10,000 men willing to confront the mighty Canaanite army with its formidable iron chariots demanded immense courage and unwavering faith. The impending battle against the Canaanites represented a pivotal moment in the annals of Israel's history. It signified the potential end of 20 years of brutal subjugation under King Jabin's rule. The clash between the Israelite forces, spearheaded by Deborah and Barak, and the formidable Canaanite army under Sisera's command was about to unfold. The Book of Judges provides a meticulous account of this momentous confrontation. In chapter 4:12, we are told, "When they told Sisera that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor, word of the Israelites' mobilization reached the Canaanite general, who was caught entirely off guard. Sisera had assumed he maintained absolute control over the region. His reaction was both swift and decisive, as detailed in verse 13. Sisera gathered together his 900 iron chariots and all his men from Harosheth Hagoyim to the Kishon River. This large-scale mobilization underlined the gravity with which Sisera perceived the Israelite uprising. He was determined to quell this rebellion with the full force of his army, leaving no room for doubt. The 900 iron chariots represented the pinnacle of the Canaanite military's might and their primary tactical asset. These war machines, technologically superior for their time, were a source of widespread terror due to their speed, sheer impact, and ability to shatter enemy lines. For the Israelites, who primarily engaged in combat on foot, the prospect of confronting these chariots was undoubtedly terrifying. The pivotal moment in the battle is chronicled in verse 14. "Then Deborah said to Barak, 'Go, "This is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead of you?" So Barak went down Mount Tabor, with 10,000 men following him. Deborah's directive to attack transcended a mere military order. It represented a bold declaration of faith. She was reiterating God's promise, instilling courage into the hearts of the Israelite soldiers. The rhetorical question, "Has not the Lord gone ahead of you?" served as a potent reminder that they were not alone in this fight, but rather fighting alongside God Himself, who was leading the charge. The image of Barak descending Mount Tabor, followed by 10,000 men, must have been an awe-inspiring spectacle. The Israelite army, having endured years of oppression, now marched with newfound purpose and courage to confront their oppressors head-on. Meanwhile, the Canaanite army, brimming with confidence in their military might and technological superiority, advanced with their 900 iron chariots and well-equipped troops. Sisera, confident in his army's strength, anticipated a swift and decisive victory. The valley beneath Mount Tabor, with its flat terrain, appeared ideal for unleashing the full potential of his chariot units. What transpired next, however, caught everyone off guard. Verse 15 vividly describes the unexpected turn of events. At Barak's advance, the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and army by the sword. This proclamation directly attributed the victory to divine intervention, signifying extraordinary events on the battlefield. The account suggests a supernatural force that sowed confusion within Sisera's ranks. While the specific details remain shrouded in mystery, it is evident that a higher power intervened, leveling the playing field and granting the outnumbered Israelites a fighting chance against their technologically advanced adversaries. Many scholars propose that the sudden shift in the Israelites' favor was due to unexpected natural phenomena that worked against the Canaanites. It is speculated that a sudden, violent storm erupted, drastically altering the battlefield and playing a crucial role in Israel's triumph. The Kishon River, usually a calm and shallow watercourse, could have transformed into a raging torrent due to heavy downpours, impacting the course of the battle significantly. If such a deluge did occur, its impact on the conflict would have been profound. Torrential rainfall would have transformed the valley floor into a treacherous muddy mire, rendering the once mighty iron chariots a liability rather than an asset. The heavy chariots would have struggled to navigate the slick terrain, leaving them vulnerable to the more agile Israelite foot soldiers. Furthermore, should the Kishon River have indeed breached its banks, many Canaanite soldiers, particularly those trapped within their immobilized chariots, would have been at the mercy of the rising floodwaters. The Israelite forces, unburdened by heavy equipment and accustomed to the terrain, would have had a distinct advantage under such conditions. The scene on the battlefield must have been chaotic, with the Canaanites' confidence in their technological superiority dissolving into disarray as the forces of nature turned against them. The once feared iron chariots, their symbols of military dominance, transformed into death traps, becoming hopelessly bogged down in the mud or swept away by the relentless currents. Panic would have spread through their ranks as they witnessed their chariots rendered useless and their comrades in arms defeated or dragged to their deaths by the unforgiving river. Many, witnessing this reversal of fortune, would have attempted to flee, adding to the overall confusion within the Canaanite ranks. It is this disarray, born from unexpected natural events and adverse environmental conditions, that the biblical text likely refers to when describing the state of Sisera's army. Meanwhile, the Israelite forces, reinvigorated by this display of divine intervention, must have pressed their attack with renewed zeal and fervor. Verse 16 recounts, Barak pursued the chariots and army as far as Harosheth Hagoyim, and all Sisera's troops fell by the sword. Not a man was left. The Israelites' relentless pursuit ensured a comprehensive and decisive victory, one that extended beyond the immediate battleground. The Israelites understood that achieving lasting freedom required dismantling the enemy's military capacity entirely. The declaration that not a man was left carries significant weight. It underscores the completeness and totality of Israel's triumph. The once mighty Canaanite army, with its fearsome iron chariots, was utterly crushed. This decisive victory marked the end of oppressive Canaanite rule over Israel. Verse 23 succinctly concludes the account of the battle. On that day God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the Israelites. This concluding statement emphasizes once again that the Israelites' victory was divinely ordained. It was God, not merely human strength, tactical prowess, or favorable circumstances that secured their freedom. The defeat of the Canaanites was more than just a military victory. It represented a defining moment in Israel's history, marking a turning point that delivered them from 20 years of subjugation. Moreover, it served as a powerful testament to God's awe-inspiring power and unwavering faithfulness. For the Israelites who had languished under the yoke of oppression, this triumph must have been a transformative experience. They had transitioned from a state of subjugation and fear to triumphant victors, an experience that undoubtedly instilled newfound confidence and courage. This newfound strength would have a lasting impact not only on their individual lives, but also on the future trajectory of their nation. The prophecy that Deborah had foretold was fulfilled. The ultimate victory, the honor of vanquishing Sisera, had indeed been attributed to a woman, albeit not in the way anyone could have foreseen. With their leader vanquished and their army shattered and scattered, the Canaanites' reign of terror over the Israelites was conclusively shattered. Sisera's death marked the final blow in breaking free from Canaanite oppression. In the aftermath of their hard-won victory, Deborah and Barak, filled with gratitude and relief, joined voices in a victory song. This song, preserved for posterity in Judges chapter 5, stands as one of the oldest surviving examples of Hebrew poetry and offers a unique retelling of this pivotal victory. Following their poignant song of victory and liberation, the scriptures inform us that a period of peace settled over the land, a testament to Deborah's leadership and the lasting impact of her victory. It's written that the land had peace for 40 years, an era of tranquility and stability that allowed them to heal and rebuild after 2 decades of oppression. These 40 years stand as a testament to the effectiveness of Deborah's leadership. Her victory effectively neutralized the most significant threat to the Israelites' safety and security, affording them the opportunity to live and flourish without the constant dread of invasion hanging over their heads. This era of peace and prosperity signifies God's favor, a reward for their resilience and steadfast faith in the face of adversity. It's essential to recognize that the Song of Deborah and Barak served multiple purposes, enriching the biblical narrative on several levels. At its core, it encapsulates the dramatic events of that pivotal moment in Israel's history. However, its significance extends beyond a mere recounting of historical events. It delves deeper, offering insights and details absent in other texts. We learn which tribes answered the call to arms and which opted to remain neutral, a detail not previously revealed in other accounts. This omission speaks volumes, perhaps suggesting internal divisions and the complexities of allegiance within a nation striving for unity amidst tumultuous times. The Song of Deborah and Barak also serves as a powerful testament to their faith, emphasizing that their hard-fought victory was not solely the result of their military prowess or strategic maneuvering, but rather a testament to God's power. This theme of divine intervention reinforces a central tenet of the Book of Judges. When Israel remains true to its covenant with God, He, in turn, grants them the strength and resilience to overcome even the most formidable of foes. Moreover, the song serves as a jubilant celebration, forever etching their victory into the hearts and minds of their people. It becomes more than just a recounting of historical events. It evolves into a powerful call to action, urging its listeners to not only remember and celebrate this pivotal moment, but to also emulate the courage and steadfast faith exhibited by those who fought for their freedom. This narrative, passed down through generations, would serve as a source of inspiration and comfort in times of adversity, reminding them that even in their darkest hours, God remained by their side. The song, in its preservation and retelling throughout the ages, serves as a timeless reminder for future generations, keeping the flame of hope alive even as new challenges arise. It underscores the timeless message that placing one's trust in God, especially when faced with insurmountable odds, is a path towards deliverance. This powerful message transcends generations, serving as a beacon of hope and resilience for generations to come. The song itself is noteworthy not only for the profound message it conveys, but also for its literary merit. It stands as one of the earliest known examples of Hebrew poetry, showcasing the rich tapestry of their literary traditions. Its vivid imagery and emotive language transport the listener to the heart of the battlefield, painting a visceral and unforgettable picture of the clash between two armies. It is crucial to acknowledge Deborah's continued role in this time of peace. She remained a steadfast and wise leader, her counsel sought after and valued long after the echoes of battle had faded. Her wisdom and discernment, instrumental in navigating their darkest chapter, proved equally valuable in preserving the hard-won peace. She became a symbol of unity, guiding her people through internal disputes with the same wisdom and grace that had secured their freedom. Deborah's impact on Israel's history was significant and enduring. She shattered gender stereotypes, proving that leadership transcended physical strength and military prowess. She became a shining example of a different kind of leader, one whose power stemmed from faith, wisdom, and an innate ability to inspire those around her. Her story served as a powerful reminder to future generations that God could utilize anyone, irrespective of societal norms, to guide, protect, and lead His chosen people to a brighter future. Her influence resonated far beyond her lifetime. She evolved into a revered figure, her courage and leadership inspiring generations. The Song of Deborah and Barak in particular served as a lasting testament to her legacy, ensuring that her story of resilience and faith continued to be told and celebrated throughout the ages. Deborah's success as a leader challenged long-held assumptions about leadership within Israel. She exemplified that true leadership transcended physical might and military prowess, proving that wisdom, faith, and the ability to unite and inspire were far more potent weapons in a leader's arsenal. This paradigm shift regarding leadership qualities influenced those who came after her, shaping the reigns of future kings and the teachings of prophets. This era of tranquility following Deborah's victory allowed the Israelites to strengthen their national identity. With the threat of invasion receding from their collective memory, they could redirect their energy towards growth and development. Agriculture flourished, trade routes expanded, and communities thrived, laying a solid foundation for future generations. This period of prosperity served as a potent reminder of the transformative power of peace and the profound impact a wise and just leader could have on a nation's destiny. The Book of Judges, however, doesn't offer a fairy tale ending. While Deborah's leadership ushered in an unprecedented era of peace, it was not destined to last. The cyclical nature of Israel's history, their tendency to stray from the righteous path, is a recurring theme throughout the biblical narrative. This period of peace was, unfortunately, no exception. A new generation emerged, one that had not personally experienced the hardships of oppression or witnessed the awesome power of God's deliverance firsthand. As time marched on and the memories of those dark times faded, so too did their vigilance in safeguarding their covenant with God. Inevitably, they strayed from the righteous path, setting the stage for the cyclical return of apostasy, oppression, and the need for another Deborah to rise. Despite their fallibility, inherent in the human condition, Deborah's legacy endured, woven into the very fabric of Israel's history. Her story, preserved in Scripture and passed down through countless generations, became a beacon of hope, reminding them that even when confronted with overwhelming challenges, God remained a constant presence in their lives. Her example illustrated that by embracing unwavering faith and courage, even the most formidable obstacles could be overcome. Deborah's story holds invaluable lessons for us today, reminding us that God can and does call upon the most unexpected individuals to fulfill His divine plan. It compels us to confront and dismantle our preconceived notions, particularly those rooted in societal norms, about what constitutes a true leader. Her story reinforces the idea that true strength and leadership aren't solely rooted in brute force or social standing, but rather in unwavering faith, unflinching courage, and a steadfast commitment to serving a cause larger than oneself. May we all find inspiration in Deborah's extraordinary life, striving to emulate her courage when confronted with seemingly insurmountable challenges, her wisdom when entrusted with positions of authority, and above all, her unwavering faith in God's plan, especially when traversing through our own metaphorical valleys of despair. Her story reminds us that God operates in mysterious ways, and we may be called upon when we least expect it. The key takeaway is to remain open to His guidance, to embrace the strength that arises from faith, and to never underestimate the profound impact our actions can have on shaping the world around us. If you found inspiration in Deborah's remarkable story and wish to delve deeper into the rich tapestry of biblical narratives, consider subscribing to our channel, where we uncover fascinating stories and timeless lessons embedded within the pages of Scripture. And if you found this video enlightening, we encourage you to share it with your friends and family. You never know who might be in need of a dose of inspiration. Let's work together to ensure Deborah's legacy of courage, faith, and purpose continues to inspire and empower others. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Deborah's incredible journey. May we all strive to embrace her courage, wisdom, and unwavering faith as we navigate the complexities of our lives.